Yes, in the mighty name of Jesus. Oh, yes, we give you praise. Welcome on board. The Lord bless you. Wherever you are watching us from, it's a moment of going deeper into a few things concerning our lives. And welcome on board. Wherever you are watching from, we are looking at a very, very interesting, important, crucial area of life. We call it a life of vision. Why a life of vision? A life of vision because that will help us to know our life's assignment and purpose. That is the key reason, the paramount reason why we have to get to know about vision. A life of vision. A life of vision. That is talking about our dreams in life. Yes, Martin Luther King said, I have a dream. In essence, he was saying, I have a vision. In essence, he was saying, I have a purpose. And that is our main objective as we begin, is to be empowered and aligned. Yes, to be empowered and aligned with what God exactly wants you, wants me to accomplish, and wants every other person who is connected to him to accomplish here on earth. There is something you are supposed to do. There is a reason why you are still breathing. And the challenging thing is that many are living purposeless lives. Many have not yet discovered the reason why they are alive and the assignments, the purpose of God for their lives. Because vision is right in God. You discover right in God, as we are going to see shortly. So let's travel a journey together in a life of vision. To begin with, let's go the way to Jeremiah chapter 1 verses 5. That is a scripture that explains and expounds more on vision, a life of vision. He says, before I formed you in the belly, I knew you. And before you came forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. That is, sanctify means to set apart, ordain a prophet to the nations. So Jeremiah is being told that it was God's idea, even before the conception through the mother and the father, whoever they were, the parents were. We are not told, but what is very, very key is to tell us that parents are only tools used by God. A father and mother are only tools that are used by God to bring us forth into this earth. It means we are God's ideas. Before I formed you in the belly, I knew you. And before you came forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee. That is, I set you apart, I separated you, and then I ordained you a prophet unto the nations. That is the assignment, that is the vision, that is the dream of God for Jeremiah. And that is very, very crucial. You are a product of God, and your purpose lies with God. Yes, you are a product of God. And your assignment, your purpose, your vision lies with God. Not with human beings, not with school. Yes, going to school, going to university only sharpens what you are supposed to do. It only sharpens. No university, no teachers' college, no institution gives men vision. What these institutions only do is that they sharpen already what is in you. But sometimes it's so sad because you find people going to where they think it is their career in life. Simply because you pass certain subjects very well does not in essence mean that is your area of vision or assignment. So it only means you are doing well in that area, and it could be an indicator. It could be an outline over what God has called you to do. So it's very, very crucial. God is a manufacturer the same way products have their manufacturers. Now you and me, we are products of our God, our creator, our maker, and he has the blueprint for our lives. We don't discover outside of God. We don't discover our assignments outside of God. You must be equipped, you must be empowered through mentorship. Yes, through mentorship, getting the relevant people who love what you love and they have succeeded in what you want to do. What is a passion in you already is an achievement in them. Those could be mentors, but the source is God. In order to reach your highest, in order to reach your ultimate level of success as soon as possible, that is within the timelines that God has given you right on earth. In other words, you don't have all the time to fulfill destiny. You don't have. It's a limited time, and you do it when you are still energetic. You accomplish, you discover well, and you move on, so that you catch up with time, you catch up with the vision, the pattern of God for your life, the path of God for your life, the divine journey in life and destiny. Very, very crucial. The question is, what exactly is your vision on planet Earth? What is exactly your vision? In other words, what brought you to this earth? What is still sustaining you? What is still keeping you alive? That is what we are talking about. What can you do with your vision? That is the second thing. What exactly are you here for? Why are you still breathing the breath of God? Because I tell people that we are living on borrowed time. It's not ours, it's borrowed. Because we came here to do the will of the one who has permitted us to be alive. We are not living for ourselves. We are not alive for ourselves. There is a God who created, there is a maker, there is an origin. There is a place we came from. So what exactly is your vision on earth? Number two, what can you do with your vision? What can you do with your vision after discovering exactly this is what I'm supposed to do? What can you do with your vision? And thirdly, how do you run with that vision? There is something that vision has come to accomplish in humanity beyond your life, to glorify God. So, 4 questions that I want to bring to your attention to ponder, to think about, to process as far as vision is concerned. Number 1, what is a vision? Or what is vision? But personally, what is a vision? What is your own vision? Secondly, do you have a vision? If we discover what vision is, if we define what vision is, the next thing automatically that follows is, do you personally have a vision? As we are speaking right now, do you have a vision? Do you have something that runs your life from God? Do you have something that keeps you alive, makes you to rise up every day, every moment? The third thing is, do you understand the vision you have? Do you have a comprehension, an understanding of that particular vision which you have discovered, if you have discovered? Do you understand it? And finally, how can you bring your vision to accomplishment or to fruition? How can you bring it to success? How can you one day leave the earth knowing, I have been a blessing, I have fulfilled, I did not run the race, like Paul said, like the one who is beating the air. He said, I discipline myself so that after I have preached to others, I'm not also disqualified. So how can you bring that vision which you have understood to a point of success? Those are the questions to bound about, to answer, to process, so that eventually you can be on your path, eating the road to rediscovering again, if you have never discovered, recasting again the vision if it stagnated along the way, or if, there are people who are just living aimless because there is nothing pushing them. There is nothing keeping them alive. Sometimes when you hear people saying they want to commit suicide, it tells you they have not discovered why they are alive. Because even the life they are living is not theirs. So just trying to say they are taking their lives away is an error, because they did not give themselves that time. God gave them the time. Proverbs chapter 28 verse 18 is our beginning. Solomon the king echoed something in Proverbs chapter 29 verses 18. It says, "Whoso walketh uprightly, where there is no vision, the people perish. But he that keepeth the law, happy is he." The law is like terms and conditions. So where there is no vision, the people perish. Where there is no vision. So it means anywhere you see people not progressing, vision is absent. Where there is no vision. It doesn't talk about where there is no money. It doesn't talk about where there is no provision. Provision will always follow vision. Finances will always follow vision. God does not just give finances because people are asking for money. Finances will go in line with vision of God in the life of a man. God will release the necessary resources. And Solomon the king talked about that whatever you may be having as a business, as an idea, is what we call vision. The blueprint of God for your life, the roadmap for your destiny, the details of why you came to the earth and why you are still alive is what we call vision. So let's divine vision for somebody to get to the foundation of things. What is vision? A part of your brain where your future is contained. That is a simple definition. The part of your brain where your future is contained. Yes, it is in your brain. That is why you hear the Bible saying in Proverbs 23 verse 7, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." That is, for as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. So when he talks about eat, drink, say, eat today, but his heart is not with you. So that is, it is in the brain, the part of the brain, which contains your future. So it's a part of your brain where it is like the factory in your mind for your vision, for your future, for a colorful tomorrow. That is a simple definition. It is the part of your brain. That is why Ephesians chapter 3 verses 20, it talks very, very profound. It says, "Now unto him that is able to do exceeding abundantly above all that we ask or think," that is the brain, "according to the power that worketh right in us." So it is the part of the brain, or part of your brain, where your future is contained. That is a simple definition of vision. Put it another way, a place in your reasoning, and a place in your understanding where your future can be discovered. It's a place in your reasoning, a place in your understanding where your future can be discovered. That is why if you are not a thinker, it is next to impossible to actualize the reason why you are alive, to bring to pass the reason why you are alive. So it's very, very crucial. That is who you shall become. That is what you are in the future can be found in a certain place in your mind, what you can be in the future. You will have to deploy yourself, you will have to process. So a vision can be a mental picture. A vision can be an image. A vision can be like a portrait. A vision is a dream. A vision is an idea. Or a vision can be a thought. Or rather, light also. That is the little light that shines in the darkness. Because if somebody is not processing anything, it means there is emptiness, there is darkness. But the moment man begins to process, to think about, to see things, to begin to see a colorful future, to see what they are anticipating, that is when we say there is a little light that shines in darkness. That is vision. So Solomon the king, and also the wisest man of his days, he was not even a Christian. If we are talking about Christianity, he was not even a Christian. Because that time, during the days of Solomon, there was no Christianity. Christians are those who look like Christ. So Jesus Christ had not been manifested. And you can imagine those days to tell you that vision is not necessarily because you are a Christian. Vision comes because you are a created being, and there were no Christians, but this man was a man of wisdom, a man of understanding. And he told us in Proverbs 29 verse 18 that without vision, people perish. So without something in the mind, in the brain that is driving this man, then people may never go far. The question is, where is vision? Where? That is the location. Where is the location of vision? Where is it? Because there is no emptiness. There is no void. It is traceable to a location. There is nothing called I don't know. Vision is not available everywhere. Yeah, that is one thing I would want to bring very clearly, that vision is tied to a location. It's not just haphazardly, you'll find it everywhere you go. That is why God is a God of divine locations, divine nations. That is why you are in our nation, Kenya, and you are not a citizen of another nation. Any other nation you may become a citizen is because of terms and conditions that it incorporates you over a period of time, over a number of years. You become maybe a dual citizenship, but originally there is a place that God wired you, positioned you in order to accomplish vision. So vision is not available everywhere. And where vision is empty or unavailable, people begin to perish. Where somebody is in a place where their destiny is never connected, where somebody is in a place and is doing the routine, is doing the motions, there's no desire, it means the vision of that person may never ever be in that place. So vision is locational. God has tied vision to locations, to cities, to countries, to nations, to places. That's why you were born in that place and not in another place. Vision is not everywhere. What kills people prematurely is lack or absence of vision. Like I've said, if you see people who have no desire to live, they have no desire for tomorrow. When it is a Monday, people are crying, why is it Monday again? They relaxed over the weekend and it's like a burden. then something is terribly wrong there. If you don't enjoy what you are doing, then it could be you are doing for money, not for vision, not an assignment that you have discovered. And it could be very dangerous, could be very challenging. So it's very, very key to have that understanding that lack of vision or absence of vision has destroyed individuals and to some extent even communities. Any community that have no vision for the future, for their lives, for their generations, then eventually it is wiped out by lack of vision. What has brought down, yes, even big individuals, CEOs, what has brought down companies, or even what has stagnated nations is absence or lack of vision. If you see a nation not progressing, then it means the leadership don't have a vision for the nation. If you see a locality where there is no progress, you see a family where there is no progress, it simply tells you they don't have a vision for their lives. And what has brought down even very, very great companies that you could never think they would come down. They came down because of lack of vision. You may talk about lack of profit, but visionlessness can run a company out of place, out of the society completely, and it remains. And you can know there are some companies that were doing vibrantly 20 years ago, 30 years, 50 years, or even 100 years ago. Today, you can't mention them anywhere. Why? Yes, they reach a point they lack the vision, and when vision is not there, perishing is along the way. They'll be removed out of place. So it's very, very key. And Proverbs chapter 29, verse 18, the Amplified Version means we can have a place, a location, and a people within that location. It says where. Where means location. Where. It's a place where there is no vision. So the place without vision, the location without vision, where? That is where there is no revelation of God and His word. The people are unrestrained. They are unrestrained. They have no boundaries. They have no restriction. So a place where people have not known why they are there, or they are there by virtue of just thinking not rightly, where there is no revelation of God and His word, the people are unrestrained. They are unrestrained. There is nothing that keeps them. So remember that vision is location bound. Yes, it is a place where. So get to know that what makes people not to live long is when they are in a wrong place or they don't know why they are there. And it is very, very important to understand that vision is tied to location. People also are tied to a location. And the great danger is that the inhabitants of that location and any other person in that location, where there is no vision, where there is no understanding, will eventually perish. So being in a place where there is no vision means you die. May not be physically, but economically, you die. Because the provision will not come because you are not in the place where you are rightly supposed to be, to attract the resources you need to attract. To attract the favor you need to attract. And this is what has made many people to run out of a place, or it has made them to stagnate in a place all their years. They did not discover, or they were in the wrong placement. So you can't afford to be in a place where there is no vision, because everything around you will eventually die. If you are in a place, everything will lose meaning, and eventually life will not move. Next thing that will set in is frustration. You'll be so frustrated, and if you will continue, it will be you are working only for resources or money or survival, but not for vision. which is the worst thing that can happen to a human being. Being in the wrong place, every other wrong thing can happen there because you are not in the right placement because of the absence of vision. And there are people in a place where there is no vision. That is what the Bible tells us, where there is no vision. So it means you could be in a place where there is no vision. You could be in a place where there is no movement, where the momentum is almost zero. So now the question to ask so that it can challenge your mind is, what has made me to stay in a place, in a business, in an organization, in a company or a ministry where there is no vision? It's a question. If you discover and you find out that there's no movement, there's no mobility, there's no progress, ask yourself, what is it that has stagnated me in this place? Because this means, or that means it's possible to be in a place with people, and yet there's absolutely no vision. There's no progression. It's possible. It's possible. That's why you find people working 20 years, 30 years, they retire to go nowhere. Because where they were, it appeared like there was nothing pushing them to progress in life. What has made people to stay in a place without vision? What is it that has made some individuals or families to stay in a place and there's no progress, there's no vision? It means they have lacked personal or individual vision, which is what helps people discover vision of a place. So it means individually, they have not discovered their vision for their own lives, leave alone even others. That is the beginning point. Individually, find out, discover, why am I alive? So that from answering that question, from that discovery, you are able now to be connected to people also with a vision, because our vision is also not individual, it is connected to others. But first of all, you must find out individually, is this what is fighting me? How do I handle this? How do I deal with this? It's very, very key. They have lacked what drives them to the next day, to the next week, to the next month, and to live a life of fulfillment. Lacking a personal vision will lead people to stay in a place where there is no bigger vision, and eventually perishing sets in. If people continue, and I believe what Deborah talked about, Deborah said village life ceased. That is Deborah. Deborah said that I rose up as a mother in Israel. What does that tell you? It means people reached a point where there was no longer life. When she says that village life ceased, it means people in a place without vision, eventually they began to die and life ceased. So that is the danger, where people have no personal, individual vision, which will propel them and drive them to bring change in a particular place. And that is the danger that we need to avoid by all means. And you must have an eye that can see deeper. Yes, you must have what we call the third eye, that is seeing beyond what your natural eyes can see. You must have an eye that can see deeper into your life, into your family, into your organization, into ministry. Whatever you are doing, you must have that and keep asking yourself questions. Are we progressing? And ask yourself questions. Are we making any mark? Are we affecting this community? Are we affecting families? Are we affecting the organization? Ask yourself that. Realize the absence of vision. And it is not all about a place not having a vision, but also the people within that place must have a vision. So it is one thing to be in the right placement, and it is another thing to have a vision for that place. If you are in the right place, then it translates to you must know the vision for that place in you and for the others who are in that particular place. They must have a vision. Otherwise, you will also perish if you don't depart from such a place. If you discover a place, you have the vision, but you discover that the place has no vision, or people are just complacent, they're just relaxed in that place, then you may have to move and rediscover and ask God for the right placement, so that also you are not with people who are passive. They are just there. There is nothing propelling them to be better. There's nothing propelling them to do better. So that you don't also stay in a place where there is no vision. Don't remain just because of structures. If something has died, move on. Don't remain because of structures, because it is not every place that is suitable for you. Depart as soon as possible, so that when you establish that there is no vision, move very quickly so that you don't waste a lot of time. A few minutes just to understand your vision. I want to bring to your attention understanding of vision individually, and then I will pick up from here in the next episode. How do I understand my vision? Now we come now to a personal level. How do I understand my vision? Habakkuk chapter 2, begin verse 2 to 4. Habakkuk chapter 2, verses 2, all the way to verses 4. How do I understand my vision? That is very, very crucial. The Bible says, then the Lord answered me and said, write the vision, engrave it plainly on clay tablets, so that the one who reads it will run. That is verse 2. Verses 3, so write the vision. Now for the vision now is for the appointed future or the appointed time. It hurries towards the goal of fulfillment. It will not fail, even though it delays. Wait patiently for it, because it will suddenly come. It will not delay. Wait for it patiently. And finally, verse 4, it says, look at the proud one. His soul is not right within him. So you avoid pride. But the righteous will live by his faith in true God. So faith will also give you the energy that I've discovered this. I have written down. So the next thing is to pray for it, wait for it, and look for signals, and avoid things that may stagnate it and make it not come to pass. So Habakkuk is not only a prophet, but he's also a visionary. That's one thing I want you to take note of. That Habakkuk is not just a prophet of God. He's one of the minor prophets in the Bible. He is not only a prophet, but he's also a visionary. And God gave him as his prophet the vision. He gave him the vision. So God gave Habakkuk the visionary, the vision. So you must be a visionary in order for God to give you a vision. You must be a man who sees far. You must be a lady who sees far. So that means you must carry the burden of your future, of your life, right inside of God. And God decided to give him a vision, and he made demands for him to take action upon it. Yes, God impressed upon Habakkuk to take action. He did not just want him to just have it in the mind. He wanted Habakkuk to download and put it down in writing. Yes, put it down in writing. And that is why there is a framework in which you can properly articulate a vision. There is a framework. That is why you find nations They have 50 years vision. Others have 100 years vision. Others have 10-year vision. Others have 30-year vision. Yes, you had sometimes back 2030 vision. 2030 vision. That is a vision. So there must be a framework for accomplishing what already you have discovered you are supposed to do. If you have discovered while you are alive and you are on the road to executing, then you must have a framework which will help you to accomplish that vision. I will touch one, then put a comma there. Who is a visionary? Who is a visionary? Because that is the matter of the matter. If you don't get to know who is a visionary, then you may never be one. And a visionary is someone who has a vision. That is a simple definition of a visionary. It's a person, a company, a nation that have a vision. For a nation to be called visionary nation, then they must have a vision. And you can have the vision, yes, without the visionary. The same way you can have a bus without a driver. Yes. The same way you can have an hotel without a waiter, without a management. It is there. The same way you can have a matatu, or what we call the transport vehicles, a taxi without the driver right inside of it. So you can have without the visionary. So place a priority. Place a priority. A visionary is made a visionary by the vision. So that means we can't have a visionary without a vision. So in essence, it means vision is very key, because vision is what produces the visionary. Otherwise, vision is in place, but we need a visionary. So a visionary is made a visionary by the visioner, or by the vision that is in place. What they are supposed to accomplish, what they are supposed to bring out, the kind of a ministry they are supposed to raise, what they see. We must have a visionary for the vision of ministry, the vision of a company in a place, the vision to meet the need, the demands of a place, of a nation is a vision. But we must have the visionary. But otherwise, the vision is already there, but the visionary may be absent. That is why we are redefining that you can have a vision without a visionary. And the place still remains the place, even without the vision remains the vision, even without the driver. It is still there. It needs a person to discover. That car needs a driver. Otherwise, it will be just there standing, waiting for one who is the driver to come and drive it. So the same with vision for a place, for a family, for an individual. Unless we have the driver who is the visionary, then the vision remains that. Greatness will never manifest because it doesn't have the one who is driving. So visions are created by our superior, our supreme beings, people who are very serious. They produce our visions because they are stored in a place waiting for the visionary to perceive. Yeah, the place has great vision and it is waiting for the visionary, the one who will be serious enough to discover. It's waiting for that person who will be serious enough to see what others are not seeing. It's there for everybody to rise to the occasion, but it will take the one who is serious, the one who is highly thinking, one who are high thinkers, the one who are high processors in their mind of seeing things that should be made right, things that are not okay, but they need to be okay. So that is very, very crucial for me. You are as important. In other words, what qualifies anyone to be a visionary is a vision being in place. You can't be called a visionary, whether of your own company. You cannot be called a visionary of your family, of that locality. You are a leader. You can't be called a visionary leader until the vision is already on ground. That is when you execute, we call you a visionary. Without that, you remain just an individual. That is very, very crucial. So you are as important as your business. And the way you treat yourself is very crucial. The way you take yourself up, the way you run your life is very, very key. So the question is, are you a visionary? Or what has made you a visionary? If you are a visionary, what has made you a visionary? Because if you don't have a vision, then you don't qualify to be a visionary. You don't. You don't qualify to be a visionary. If you don't have a vision, that is the sad part of life. Without anything driving you, you will never ever be a visionary man. You will never be a visionary leader. You will never be a visionary senator. You will just be a senator. If you've not discovered your vision for the Senate, for the term God has given you, you don't just occupy a position. You don't just become a man who has a woman in their family. You must drive the vision for that family because you are a visionary. So if you have not discovered why you married, not discovered why you have those children, that is when everything will go wrong because you are not a visionary. You don't have a vision. You are just moving. You are just occupying space and you are just running the motions of every day, of every week, of every month. That is not the will of God. In Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 2, finally, the advice is to the visionary. Look at the advice to the visionary. Biblical advice. Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 2. His perception. Then the Lord answered me and said, write the vision. Write the vision and engrave it plainly on clay tablets so that the one who reads it will run. That is why when we talk of 2030, it's not only a vision for those in office. It has to be documented so that whoever will come will find a vision already in place and will execute the vision for them to be called the visionaries. So the advice is to the visionary. The visionary has been told, write the vision, put it down. If you are a visionary, you have seen it, can you document, put it down? The first is not writing the vision, but receiving the vision. That is what I call perception. So you receive first the vision, the divine vision, the divine blueprint of God for your life. You receive it first. So and a vision has to be received first. You receive the vision first. Otherwise, what will you be writing? What will you be documenting if you have not received the vision? There's nothing you'll be documenting. So the first thing from God is to receive, perceive the vision, receive the vision. This is where many are stagnated. This is where many people, many God's people, many graduates have stagnated. They already documented, they already came with a first class honors, second class upper division, second class lower division, or just their pass. So they have already added, but they have stagnated there because many have vision, but they have not documented. It is not even on ground. And others haven't received the vision for their lives. They have not. They have purpose, they have things, but vision, zero. They don't know where their lives should be as they follow God in 5 years, in 2 years, in 1 year. They have no idea of that. And that is the sad part about it. So we are coming next episode to look at how can I receive the vision about my life? How can I receive the vision about my family? How can I receive the vision about anything around my life? How do I receive it? Yet visions are given. So how can one receive a vision and yet visions are given? So how do you receive if they are given? That is what we are coming to look at. I pray that you will not miss your moments in this life. My prayer is you will go down squared with God. Ask God, what is the vision for my life? As a family person, as a company personnel, Of course, if you are an employee of a company, the vision is already there. You execute, become part of the vision. But individually, you must first of all find out, why are you alive? What is making God to still give you the breath of life? Are you relevant to God? Are you relevant to the one who is giving you breath and life every day? That is where it begins. The Lord bless you and see you through. I want to very quickly, in a minute, bring to our attention that Mountain of Deliverance, Nairobi, have currently one service. That is in Muranga Road. It is 100 meters from the Fig Tree stage. Yeah, that is in Ngara, Nairobi, CBD. First service, one service currently is from 9, yes, all the way to 1. Time of worship, time of praise, time of prayer. That's a Sunday celebration service, 9 all the way to 1. Find your way if you are in the environs of Nairobi with Dr. Oracle and Dr. Pauline. That is Ngara. That is Mountain of Deliverance, Nairobi. On Wednesday, they have Holy Communion service, a time of feasting in the Word, and then partaking with the Holy Communion. We call it an empowerment and Holy Communion service. That is every Wednesday from 5 all the way to 6:30 p.m. And then on Thursday, very, very crucial, one of the mandate that the Lord has given to Dr. Oracle is deliverance. We have a Thursday deliverance service from 9 all the way to 1, Mountain of Deliverance, Nairobi. And that is at the services of Nairobi. We also have in Nakuru, Mountain of Deliverance with Reverend Mark. First service, 6:30 on a Sunday service. Yes, 6:30 a.m. in the morning, all the way to 9:30. And then from there, the second service is 10 a.m. all the way to 1 p.m. And that is on a Sunday. When we go back to Monday, we have Holy Communion service, the one that happens in Nairobi. On Wednesday, happens in Mountain of Deliverance, Nakuru, on Monday, 5 to 6:30 p.m. in the evening. On Tuesday, we have a deliverance service, which happens in Nairobi on Thursday, but in Nakuru, it is on Tuesday from 9 all the way to 1 p.m. Then Wednesday, we have all-night prayer. We call it a night of travail to prevail. Yes, there are things that will never happen if you are a normal Christian. You have to go an extra mile in prayer. And those are our services. Friday, we have a prayer service, a general prayer service for everybody. You are welcome from 5 all the way to 6:30 in the evening. We are so glad that you are watching. Kindly partner with Oracle Television Network. It is blessing so many. The details are right on your screen. You can write them when God blesses you. Anytime, you can wire paybill number 171133, and the account name is Oracle TV. Just to find your way into that, and the good Lord will bless your resources. God gives us resources to sow back to His kingdom, to bless people. So the Word of God is an avenue that will give you back benefits in lump sum, because we are investing in the kingdom and in the lives of men. I wish you well, and I wish you God's blessing. Remember, this is the Oracle Television Network Morning Inspiration Show. God bless you in Jesus' name.